Good afternoon, Manchester. Welcome to BARLEY'S World, Manchester 1968. Today I'm going to be reading out of my book, They Stare Without Blinking, covering aspects of racism which I've encountered or witnessed throughout my time living in the UK. So again, we're reading a little bit out of my book, They Stare Without Blinking, covering aspects of racism in the UK which I've witnessed or encountered. Today's background music is by Coldplay, album is Rush of Blood to the Head. Can't beat Coldplay for a Sunday afternoon, especially if you roast. Right, the period of the book I'm going to be reading from is going to be called, the chapter's called 77-85 or 1977-1985. So I'm going to read that and then we'll just do a general overview towards the end where I'll mention the comments, subscribing and likes and all the rest of it. You all know the score by now anyway, but I'll repeat it later on. So I'm going to get into this right now because I want to get something to eat and I just want to make sure nothing burns. So right, 77-85 from my book, They Stare Without Blinking. Let's jump straight in. This was a period of punk, National Front, the British movement, ska, the skinheads. Those were the times I remember being black and stared at by people who didn't blink. There was a lot going on. It was like a big mixing pot. Bands like The Clash, a punk band that did a lot of against rock against racism, and also encouraged their music to be crossed over with reggae bands. The Specials, who brought together a mixture of black and white people to create two-tone ska, to break down segregation and to enforce unity in their music. Massive respect to the Specials. Susie and the Banshees, a punk band, also pioneered the introduction of new romantics and goths. We had bands like The Jam, The Police and Steel Pulse. Steel Pulse, a reggae band that came out in 1976 and was accepted by punks and punk bands and did a lot for the black and marginalised movement. And similar to The Clash, a great crossover band loved by the original punks. Respect Steel Pulse. This was the first wave I remember of racism being discussed or mentioned by the older generation, who may have said something like, "Look out lad, apparently the National Front is supposed to be jibbing down Manchester. They're supposed to be walking down Stocky Road, or they might go through Moss Side up Princess Parkway or Prinny Road, whatever." National Front never turned up, just hearsay to try and get us all frightened. They never come walking up alongside or Moss Side as far as I'm aware. Anyway, like I said, living in Longside, I never heard anything toward any uprising from the black community or the marginalised in general. As a matter of fact, I don't remember seeing any NF signs on the walls or any disgusting graffiti at all in Longside. I was more likely to see that kind of defilement in surrounding areas like Gorton, Openshaw, Levenshulme and Reddish. I do believe living in Longside at the time was one of the most secure and stable areas to grow up in. I never quite understood why it never had any major problems to do with racism, because I know for a fact we had racist people amongst us, and when the opportunity presented itself, they would use overt derogatory language. But the majority of the time they were covert, probably because they were scared or whatever, but anyway, that's what happened. On the plus side, we had a couple of shows on TV which would give us a bit of respite from all the name calling. Shows like Empire Road and Foster's. Empire Road was the first British TV series which was written, acted and directed by predominantly black people in 1978. There was also great films by the great actor Sidney Poitier, the first black actor to win an Oscar for Best Actor, which gave us hope, encouragement and never give up attitude. We also had a superb album at the time to spur us on when the going got tough, and we really did need this album to give us strength, support, hope and obviously guidance. That album was none other than Exodus by yours truly, Bob Marley. And that album came out at a time where we had just gone through the worst type of racism and stereotypical views due to a very hard-hitting drama, which I'll mention in a moment. Bob Marley was a visionary and someone who wanted to unite all cultures through his music, a prophet sharing his love of the world to all mankind, a hero to the black and marginalised communities and a light to everyone else. One good thing about music, when it hits we feel no pain. That drama I was referring to always brings a tear to my eye, even now when I think about it. That upsetting, unsettling tragedy will be synonymous with the vitriol we would receive for many years to come. That sadness, that documentary, that drama, that programme was called Roots. You heard me, Roots. hated seeing that Roots programme when it came out in 76, 77. For the first time in my life, I saw black people treated like animals, and I didn't understand why. I was angry because I couldn't help them. Even though it was a drama, it felt very real to me. I could not understand why white people want to treat other human beings in that way. It didn't make any sense. Why do people think keeping other people in chains and whipping them half to death on a regular basis, chopping their legs off to prevent them from escaping, could even be looked upon as normal behaviour? I've never watched Roots since the first time, and I have no intention of watching it again. In 2000, I went to Gambia and made it my mission to visit the poignant landmarks to do with slavery and visit Kunta Kinte's ancestors. I just felt at the time I needed to see for myself and imagine what it must have been like to be taken away from your family by force, taken to another country and flogged to death until you could not work anymore. Brutal savagery and barbaric behaviour our ancestors had to put up with and had to endure, with the sole purpose being to line the already full pockets of white people who treated wealth like a god and black people as mongrel abomination, who did not and still deserve nothing. Is that how we look upon today? Is that the same mental viewpoint today in 2020 from white people to black people, that we're nothing, we don't deserve nothing? Who knows? I remember going to school Monday morning, primary school, and having to deal with that utter nonsense of these new words being aimed at us by kids who were naive and didn't know any better. I weren't the only one. At school I was having to listen to Toby, Chicken George, Fiddler and Kunta Kinte, taking over our usual names for a short period of time. I don't remember any fights though at school, but in saying that, the blacks were the cocks anyway. We were the toughest at our school anyway, so it wasn't a big deal. So I believe we just took the nonsense with a pinch of salt. I think the name calling was more of a novelty thing for the English kids, rather than anything with purpose. We were all young, we didn't know any better, and if we really wanted to put our foot down, we could have done it quite easily. Here's an analogy for you, how we looked upon it at the time. Lions don't roar at any other animal of no importance. Again, lions don't roar at anything of no importance. That's how we dealt with racism then, and that's how we deal with racism today. Anything of no importance, we don't waste our time with it. Also, we didn't need to, because even though we had to go through that Roots nonsense, we had the greatest West Indian cricket team coming over here and just doing the business, because they would do our batting for us, our slogging for us, and they would dominate for us. The great West Indies cricket team. Enough said. So the spirit of 77, 1981 was the era where there was different gangs to be aware of and take notice of, like mods, football hooligans, Rastafarians, rude boys, new romantics, suede heads, punks. And the most notorious and racist of the lot was the skinhead, right wing and loving it. Living in Longsight, we had our own skinhead outfit, the Longsight Skins, but they never bothered anyone. They were just a novelty in the area. Everybody knew them, and they had a mixed race lad in their gang anyway who was very popular, so there was nothing for us to concern ourselves with. I'm not saying they were soft alongside Skins, but they never went round black or ethnic bashing, as far as I'm aware. It was the Skinners from other areas you had to be wary of, but luckily me and my mates never encountered any confrontation with them. You'd always see Skinners hanging about in Manchester, mainly around the Underground Market, St Anne Square, Market Street, the back of the Arndale Centre, among other types of music fans like the New Romantics, Goths, them people into Gary Newman, Subway Army, all that lot. The main issues with the skinheads were identifying the ones who were racist. There were so many different types of skinheads: boneheads, skinheads, suede heads, Trojan skins, etc. The only thing me and my mates had to go off to differentiate between the skinheads and the racist skinheads was their dress style, and also whether they had red laces in their boots that were tied a certain way. That was our only indicator. Failing that, you would just listen out for, "Hey, you black bastard." That's a great point to end it there. So there's a little bit of a flavour, a bit of a taste of what it was like around 77, 85, what was going on and what you had to put up with going into town with all the skinheads and all these other variety of groups and bands and fans and followers around Manchester. You had to look out for what you were doing. areas you have to look out for, what certain areas you couldn't go into. Not like you couldn't go into them, but you have to be very, very careful. And like I said earlier on, there were certain areas where you would see National Front on the wall, or Pakistani this, or black this, or WOG this, or whatever and whatever in certain areas on walls. So you would see that kind of graffiti. But coming from where we came from in Longside, that didn't really deter us. We would go to Beswick and Cokes. So we would still go to these areas for whatever reason, whether to see friends or whether to go to the youth clubs in them areas, or even to see girlfriends, whatever it may have been back in the day. But yeah, you'd see the signs on the walls, you see the National Front or BNP or British Movement and everything. But that's how it was back in the days, back in the 70s and 80s. You just cracked on with it, just got on with it. But it wasn't easy, it wasn't nice, but that's what it was. Right, so there you go. I'm reading from my book, They Stay Without Blinking, out now on Amazon. If you want to read the rest of it to get a real full seasoning taste of what I was writing about, get the book, tell me what you think. Hopefully you enjoyed the music in the background by Coldplay, which you can't beat on a Sunday, like I said before. I'm looking forward to my Sunday roast now, so I'm going to wrap this thing up. So again, the usual comments, like buttons, subscribe, all that kind of information helps me to help you, to give you a really, really good service. So the more you comment, the more I can obviously digest that and then act on that. The more likes I get helps me, and the more people who subscribe, therefore will get information from what I'm doing straight away. Be that little bit of a ping. So other than that, I hope you enjoyed the reading. I'm trying to put a bit of like passion behind it as I'm reading it, so it'll give you a nice like flavour. And that's it basically. So there we go. Reading from my book, They Stay Without Blinking, out now on Amazon, and I'll be back in as and when with another video determining what it will be. It might be another Manchester Maverick, Manchester Icon, and reading from one of my 4 books. I'd like to do a general discussion on like me swimming or Buddhism or whatever it may be. But again, I'll finalise that when I know when I'm back on doing another channel. Oh, sorry, another video. Right, so there we go. Have a great Sunday. Don't eat too much, but always have seconds. And take it easy. Put your feet up, relax after you've had your scran. On that note, see you later. Take care, and I'll see you soon. Sweet.